What you have here is a collection of Maksutov blanks for a reflective telescope known as a Maksutov. It takes on two broad forms. You have the Maksutov Cassegrain, which is got two reflective elements in it of optical power, and then the Maksutov Newtonian, which only has one, plus a diagonal mirror to put the light path in a position you can use. A lot of them were made by Hayward Glass in the late 50s, 60s, and I presume up to the 70s, before other telescopes that were easier and also more cheap to produce commercially in large sizes. And it basically killed it off. The Maksutov, though, still has a very fervent following in niche telescope circles because it combines really good image quality when properly made. And in the Cassegrain configuration, it has a relatively compact size, so portability is a lot easier, and also certainly mounts make it a lot easier to use. For these ones here, they start and end with certain sizes that correspond to matching mirror blank sizes for the big reflective element. The light path is kicked out slightly because while the lens on the front is actually a meniscus, it basically has almost no optical power, but it diverts the light path outward. So you need a slightly larger mirror to capture all that light and to get optimal correction. Now, starting with these ones, these are 4.5 inches. Then there's this one, 5. In some cases, some of the original packaging is around that cardboard ring and the cardboard packaging for the smaller ones. Then you get this one, which is, that one is 5.5 inches. Those ones are 4.5, and they correspond to a 5-inch mirror and a 6-inch mirror. This one goes up to 6.5 inches, which is an oddball size, meaning you'd have to have a 7-inch mirror blank. And as far as I know, nobody made those. Those had to be made custom, because most of these mirror blanks and then correspond to a slightly smaller Maksutov blank. So you go from 5-inch Pyrex blanks all the way up to a 12-inch one for this one, or the larger sizes here. Another odd man out is that one there. I can't remember. I think that one's 9 inch, just a little under 9 inches. You need a 9.5 or 10-inch mirror blank for it. Kind of weird. The glass is all pretty much the same stuff. BK or BSC2, which basically means borosilicate crown 2, which is basically their copy of a well-known glass type called BK7, which has been used in optical glass circles for pretty close to 100 years. It's very inexpensive. It has excellent properties. The chemistry and the manufacture of lens elements with it is very well understood, so it finds its way into a lot of optical designs. The only one that's not of this type is this little one down here. I believe it came from Chance Pilkington in England, which is a well-known glass maker, and the catalog number B270 Water White Crown is one of theirs, but it's almost a copy of BK7. But in this case, it is important to note that there is data for the optical melt on this one. These ones over here, this one and that one, are still in their original packaging from shipping. And a large number of these blanks survive today, more than 50 years on from their manufacture, or more than 60 now, since I'm, 57 now, and born in 65, so yeah, they're more than 60 years old now. or 65. But the one thing I was wondering about is people found themselves as they got in over their head with these designs. These were a big piece of glass to work. You need a lot of time, and I think what they found is they got in over their head and then just never did have the gumption or the time to finish them. These large ones are 11 1/4 inches in diameter and are about 1 3/8 inches thick, so they are very heavy, close to 20 pounds in every case. That one in the corner is frosted and not still bearing its original molding marks because John Gregory of the Gregory Maksutov fame precision ground this one to specific shapes to give somebody a head start on their build. Because that's the first thing you have to do is you have to rough grind these to the rough size and dimensions and curvature especially that you need. And in some cases, this one, and this one, you can see that there is a vertical lip left behind on the glass. So before any machining is done, that will have to be removed. Also, John Gregory was kind enough for this person to go and do a bevel around the edge of the glass to try to prevent chipping. As you can see, a few of these blanks have a few chips. Most of them are very minor, except for this one, which got some fairly nasty chips in them. Those ones I repaired by gluing the original chips of glass back in with some optical cement. But anyway, all told, there's probably close to $14,000 or $15,000 worth of this glass sitting here. The stuff has gotten very expensive in the last couple of years. I was lucky to get these ones. One problem with it now is that a lot of premium optical makers, Tech, Cerovolo, made a very nice run of smaller Maksutovs years ago, 6 to 8 inch, which are very expensive in the secondhand marketplace. But most of all of these people complain now they would never do that now because finding glass like this is incredibly difficult. And one of the problems is that the homogeneity or whatever that word is of the glass is no longer as good as it used to be. Is that you have to use very good quality glass, especially in these larger sizes. You have to mold it very carefully, and then in a long time-consuming step, you have to anneal it to get rid of stress in it, so that when you grind these, and especially in some of the more complicated designs, what you have to do is cut a hole through the center of the corrector at some point. And if the glass is not stress relieved at that point, that will introduce stress into the glass and wreck the corrector.